What if the next few moments could completely shift the way you see your challenges? What if you found a source of motivation so strong it ignites the fire within you to press forward, no matter how impossible your circumstances might look? Welcome to Motivation for Success. Right here, right now, you're about to uncover insight that has inspired countless people to stand tall and keep pushing, no matter what life throws at them. Denzel Washington, known for his powerhouse performances on screen and his passionate reflections off-screen, once told a graduating class, "Dreams need goals, life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. Understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency." He believes your commitment to movement, despite the odds, is what turns your greatest dreams into realities. Today, his expert perspective, shared from his extensive journey as both an artist and a writer, underscores a truth that can help you rise above any struggle. So, get ready. Prepare your heart, open your mind, because this message is crafted to fuel your determination and remind you that quitting is never an option. You are here for a reason. You might be feeling weighed down by financial stress, emotional exhaustion, or self-doubt, but you still have a spark inside you. It's flickering, waiting to be unleashed. Today's journey will stoke that spark into a blazing fire. By the end of this video, you're going to see why your struggle is just a stepping stone, one that catapults you toward the brightest future you've dared to imagine. Stay with us, because there's a life-changing message ahead. Let's dive into today's topic of pure motivation, a transformation that begins now. Ask yourself, do you really believe in the power of your own purpose? Far too often, people forget that it's not the size of their challenge, but the magnitude of their internal drive that determines whether they succeed or fail. Denzel Washington, in several interviews and speeches, has emphasized how faith and belief serve as the pillars of real, lasting success. Third-person observation of his words reveals that he consistently encourages listeners to put God first in everything you do, highlighting that spiritual fortitude shapes mental resilience. When you're standing on shaky ground, remind yourself that your life has meaning far beyond the obstacles standing before you. Think of Joseph in the Bible, betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned, yet never robbed of his God-given vision. He held on to his purpose. That unwavering faith in a higher promise allowed him to transform betrayal into triumph. Perhaps you feel stuck in your own pit today. Maybe you've lost trust in yourself because of repeated failures. But take a lesson from Joseph, your current hardship doesn't cancel out the bigger plan written for you. It's part of the process shaping you into someone even stronger. It's easy to lose faith when the storm clouds roll in. Yet faith isn't about blindly ignoring your problems, it's about seeing past them. Denzel Washington once wrote that his own faith journey shaped his discipline and humility, two foundational traits that made him unstoppable in pursuing his goals. He argues that you can't give up just because it gets hard. That's when you dig deeper, find your purpose, and lean on the power within you. Now, reflect on your purpose. In what areas of your life have you allowed circumstances to overshadow the gifts and dreams that you hold inside? Share your experiences in the comments. Let's get a conversation started. You, too, can choose belief when everything else seems to be falling apart. Right now, vow to redefine how you speak about your situation. Each word you speak can either build your faith or erode it. Choose to build. Remind yourself that the promise over your life is bigger than your current struggle. Don't let regret or bitterness bury your potential. Your best days aren't behind you, they're waiting for you to claim them. This first section closes with a simple challenge. Take a moment to write down one key area where you need a breakthrough. Put that note where you can see it every day. Believe in your purpose. Give yourself permission to dream again. Adversity can feel like an uninvited guest that refuses to leave. It steals your peace, tests your patience, and makes you question your worth. Yet within every adverse situation lies the seed of something magnificent. Denzel Washington, reflecting on the tough times he faced early in his career, once noted, "You pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud too. That's a part of it." His stance is unwavering. Adversity shapes you for the next level of your destiny. In Scripture, Joseph's story captures this principle beautifully. What was meant for harm, God used for good. Sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison, Joseph's life seemed like a never-ending series of pitfalls. But each setback pushed him closer to a place of authority and fulfillment. The lesson here: hardship doesn't mean you're disqualified, it means you're being refined. Imagine forging steel. It takes intense heat and powerful hammering to transform raw material into a robust blade. In the same way, adversity hammers at your fears, insecurities, and doubts, molding you into someone stronger, more compassionate, and better prepared for the blessings to come. Yes, adversity hurts, but it also trains you. It builds spiritual muscles that comfort cannot. Denzel Washington's viewpoint is that your trials aren't random, they're designed to sharpen your gifts. Are you letting them do so? When your problems pile up, remember the woman with the issue of blood, a timeless example of unyielding faith under crippling adversity. After exhausting every resource for years, she refused to believe that her story ended in despair. She forced her way through the crowd, touched the hem of Jesus' garment, and found the healing doctors couldn't provide. Her adversity led her to a defining moment of faith. If you're down to your last shred of hope, keep going. The situation might be showing you that a breakthrough is right around the corner. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture your life 1 month, 1 year, or even 5 years from now, after you've persevered through this season. That mental image is worth fighting for. Just like that woman reached out and touched the garment, you have to reach out, too. Opportunities often show up dressed like adversity. Embrace them. Don't just survive the battle, thrive in it. By the end of this section, commit yourself to see adversity as a stepping stone. Remind yourself daily, adversity is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Let's talk about one of the hardest parts of any journey: waiting. Waiting for doors to open, waiting for prayers to be answered, waiting for that phone call, that promotion, that relationship, or that big break. Waiting can feel like an eternity, especially when every day seems to bring the same struggles. But Denzel Washington has always encouraged others to stay disciplined, stay consistent, even when results aren't immediate. In his view, waiting is when you polish your craft. It's where you learn discipline and resilience that remain with you long after you've succeeded. Abraham and Sarah spent years clinging to a promise that seemed impossible. They were well past childbearing age, yet they held on to faith that God would bless them with a son. The period of waiting was painful. They even tried to speed up the process, which led them down a complicated path. But in the right moment, Sarah gave birth to Isaac, the child of promise. Their story proves that just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. Think of your own life. Isn't it tempting to believe that a delayed answer is a denied request? But that's where you need to recalibrate your perspective. In your season of waiting, you might be developing the patience, wisdom, or humility that you'll need for the future. Denzel Washington's approach aligns with this. He insists you keep working, keep refining yourself, because once the floodgates of opportunity open, you won't have time to get ready, you need to be ready. So while you wait, do so actively. Learn new skills, strengthen your mindset, grow your spiritual life. If you're praying for a better job, use the waiting season to refine your abilities or volunteer in roles that enhance your resume. If you're praying for healing, invest in educating yourself about healthy lifestyle changes, mental health resources, or new medical breakthroughs. Do something that propels you forward, even if the final answer still feels distant. Ask yourself, what does this waiting season make possible that an instant yes would not have allowed? Make a list of at least 3 things you can only learn or develop during a period of waiting. Then start working on those areas. This active waiting fuels your hope and prepares you to receive your breakthrough with both hands open and ready. As this section comes to a close, remind yourself, God's timing is perfect. A delay is not a denial. If you haven't seen your breakthrough, it means you're still in the process of refinement. Instead of giving in to despair, choose to see waiting as the place where your faith grows. It's lonely. It's disorienting. Sometimes it's downright terrifying. The wilderness is that place where you feel cut off, unmoored, unsure of which way leads to safety. For many, it's where you question every decision you've made. The Israelites wandered in their wilderness for 40 years before stepping into the promised land. You might be in one right now, figuratively wandering, wondering when you'll see the finish line. According to Denzel Washington's reflections on his own career, it's in the barren seasons, the roles that didn't come, or the doors that shut in his face, where he gleaned the greatest lessons. In third-person perspective, he points out that the wilderness reveals not just who you are, but who you can become. It strips away distractions, forcing you to confront the raw version of yourself, fears, doubts, pride, and all. You either crumble under the weight of that revelation or rise stronger. Consider the purpose behind the wilderness. If everything came easy, where would your depth, your empathy, your resilience come from? The wilderness acts like a refiner's fire, burning away everything that can't go with you into your future. Denzel Washington, as a writer, has often noted that character is formed in the crucible of difficulty, not comfort. The same is true for you. So if you feel abandoned or rejected, think again. Perhaps you're exactly where you need to be to learn reliance on something bigger than yourself. Perhaps, like the Israelites, you're here to develop total dependence, manna from heaven one day at a time. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But comfort doesn't produce greatness. Uncertainty can either paralyze you or sharpen you. Which will you choose? At the end of this section, remember, the wilderness is a route, not a destination. Don't pitch your tent there permanently. Keep moving. Like travelers guided by a pillar of fire at night, look for divine direction in your confusion. Trust that if you keep going, eventually, you'll see the path open up, leading you to exactly where you're meant to be. Have you ever felt like you're on the brink of something huge, yet the closer you get, the tougher the battle becomes? That's no coincidence. Often, the greatest warfare comes right before the greatest breakthrough. Denzel Washington's perspective is crystal clear here. He compares it to a runner who's almost at the finish line. Just because your legs feel like lead and your chest is on fire doesn't mean you should stop. It's the final stretch where champions are made. Scripture gives us a compelling example in the story of Elijah praying for rain. He prayed and prayed, but 6 times, his servant returned saying, "There's nothing." On the 7th time, the servant reported a small cloud the size of a man's hand. That tiny sign unleashed a torrential downpour that ended a devastating drought. The message is timeless: never stop on the 6th try. Your 7th might be the miracle moment. The woman with the issue of blood underscores the same point: 12 years of suffering, countless doctors, and no improvement, yet she pressed on until she touched the hem of Jesus' garment and experienced life-changing healing. In that same vein, Denzel Washington has frequently highlighted that perseverance is non-negotiable if you want to see life-altering success. He encourages everyone to fail big if they must, but to never retreat in fear. What about you? Which area of your life demands that final press? Is it your finances, your marriage, your career, or your mental health? You've tried so many times you've lost count, and you're tempted to just call it quits. But you don't have to. That next application, that next prayer, that next phone call might be the key. One more push. One more touch. One more step, because that's often all it takes to cross the threshold into your breakthrough. Seal this section with an affirmation: I will not stop on the 6th try. Write it down. Put it on your bathroom mirror or the lock screen of your phone. Speak it every morning. Let it be your rallying cry when your flesh tells you that continuing is pointless. You've heard the stories, the biblical accounts, the illustrations of how adversity, waiting, wilderness seasons, and perseverance can lead to unimaginable breakthroughs. But what does it look like, day by day, to live out this message? Denzel Washington suggests that living your faith is much more than talk. it's a series of daily decisions. In third-person vantage, he asserts that real faith requires stepping forward when the path isn't visible and investing in yourself when external validation is non-existent. Consider small but practical acts of faith. Start with your words. How do you describe your life, your circumstances, your future? Negative self-talk is like a termite that silently weakens the foundation of your dreams. Replace phrases like, "I can't," with, "I will learn how." Replace, "I'm stuck," with, "I'm in transition." Simple language shifts can rewire your mindset over time. Another layer of action is taking responsibility for the next step. If you're seeking new career opportunities, are you actively networking, refining your resume, or learning new skills? If you're looking for deeper relationships, are you working on your communication habits and emotional availability? Faith without works is dead, says the Book of James. Denzel Washington's perspective aligns perfectly. You can pray, you can dream, but you must also do. Build daily habits that nurture your faith. This can be morning affirmations, journaling, or a few minutes of meditation and prayer. Even reading a chapter of an empowering book can spark change. The point is to maintain a steady rhythm of spiritual, mental, and emotional input that fuels your motivation. Don't let the news cycle or social media negativity define your worldview. Fill your mind with messages of hope. After all, you become what you consistently consume. As you wrap up this section, challenge yourself to pick one faith-building habit and commit to it for 30 days. Keep track, and don't skip. Watch how your perspective shifts. No one was ever meant to navigate life's challenges alone, yet in moments of weakness, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking no one else could possibly relate to your struggles. The reality is that countless people are on similar paths, facing obstacles, wrestling with uncertainty, and yearning for meaningful support. From a third-person perspective, Denzel Washington emphasizes the significance of having a circle that nurtures your growth, challenges you to push forward, and keeps you grounded in your goals. He insists on the necessity of forging relationships that lift you higher and never let you settle, reminding everyone that success is rarely a solo venture. Reflect for a moment on the people currently in your life. Are they uplifting your aspirations, or are they sapping your motivation? True allies aren't just there to celebrate your victories, they step up when your confidence falters and redirect you if you drift off course. That's why accountability partners, whether friends, family members, or mentors, play such a critical role. Sometimes, the most impactful push comes from an outside voice that recognizes your potential even when you don't. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have this kind of community in their immediate surroundings. In that case, consider expanding your reach through online groups, faith-based communities, or any niche forums that align with your values and interests. Comment sections like this one are also spaces where you can openly discuss your goals, share your story, and realize you're not isolated in your struggles. By being transparent about your challenges and triumphs, you can spark courage in others who might be wrestling with their own uncertainties, while also gaining fresh insights from those who've been where you are. Before finishing this thought, take a moment to identify at least one person who could help keep you accountable on your journey. It might be someone you already look up to, or perhaps an old friend you haven't connected with in a while. Reach out, send that message, make that call, or plan to meet for a cup of coffee. Let them know that you're focused on personal growth and could use their support or guidance. Stepping outside your comfort zone to build a strong support system isn't a sign of weakness, it's a bold move toward the future you've envisioned. Have you ever noticed how the toughest chapters in life often transform into the most compelling stories, the kind that resonate through generations and offer hope to countless souls? Take a moment to reflect on some timeless examples. Joseph, betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery, rose to a position of immense influence through unwavering faith and courage. A nameless woman suffering a chronic illness for 12 long years pressed through the crowd just to touch the edge of a garment, and her miraculous healing still inspires all who hear about it. Elijah, the prophet who prayed for rain during an agonizing drought, kept praying despite seeing no immediate sign of relief, and ultimately witnessed clouds rolling in with thunderous blessings. Sarah, though well beyond childbearing age, clung to a divine promise and eventually cradled her newborn son in her arms. These stories, documented centuries ago, remind us that the darkest valleys can lead to the brightest peaks. More importantly, they encourage us to view our own trials not as meaningless struggles but as potential testimonies that can ignite faith in others. Even if your personal history is dotted with heartbreak, failures, or missteps, it holds extraordinary power when you're willing to share it. People might not remember every statistic or every textbook definition, but they do remember raw honesty and genuine transformation. Denzel Washington, drawing from a lifetime of acting roles and personal reflections, repeatedly affirms, through his spoken words and written insights, that vulnerability is a potent form of strength. In the third-person view, he maintains that true connection happens when we dare to reveal our scars instead of hiding them away. When you think about it, isn't it the unfiltered moments, those times you felt completely exposed and unsure, that ultimately taught you the most about your own resilience and ability to adapt? Embracing vulnerability doesn't mean parading your wounds without purpose, rather, it means acknowledging that your rough edges tell a story of perseverance. People are naturally drawn to authenticity, not to a glossy, perfect exterior. Think back to the last time someone else's story genuinely moved you. Did it resonate because they painted a picture of spotless success, or because they opened up about stumbling, falling, and eventually finding a way to stand again? Chances are, it was the latter. It showed you that you aren't alone, that brighter days are possible even if the present moment is steeped in uncertainty. Your story can do the same for someone else, maybe a friend weighed down by anxiety, a stranger battling self-doubt, or even an entire community seeking evidence that hope still exists. By candidly sharing your journey, whether through social media posts, personal blogs, or open conversations over coffee, you become a beacon for someone groping through their own darkness. You turn your personal pain into a collective healing process, illustrating how adversity can shape, refine, and fortify your spirit rather than destroy it. The truth is, no matter how messy or complicated your past may look, it could be the bridge that helps someone else cross their turbulent waters. Don't underestimate the reach of your words or the ripple effect of a single testimony. When you speak about what you've endured, and how you've grown as a result, you offer a blueprint of hope. So decide today how you'll share your story. Will you talk it out with a supportive confidant, start penning your experiences in a journal, or launch a simple podcast for others who might be in the very storm you survived? All that truly matters is that your story serves as a shining reminder for someone who needs to see the dawn after a long, sleepless night. Yes, you might feel apprehensive at first. Vulnerability can be intimidating. Yet as Denzel Washington suggests, showing our true selves is often the bravest step toward meaningful connection. The scars you've hidden for so long could become the source of someone else's greatest breakthrough. And in that moment, you'll realize that every tear, every setback, and every lesson learned was worth it, not just for your growth, but for the countless lives you might touch simply by letting your story be told. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through social media, comparing your life to polished snapshots of luxury cars, elaborate vacations, or high-profile award ceremonies? In our culture, it's easy to equate success with impressive resumes and bank statements. Yet how often do we pause and ask ourselves whether that's the kind of success we truly want or need? Too often, we get caught up chasing the flashy symbols of achievement and overlook a far more authentic, soul-nourishing definition. Denzel Washington, widely recognized for his iconic film roles and insightful personal reflections, has long advocated that true success is rooted in discovering your unique gifts, continuously refining them, and then using them for a purpose that transcends personal gain. In the third-person perspective, his writings and speeches emphasize that you can accumulate countless awards, titles, and fortunes, but if your pursuits lack deeper meaning, if they fail to connect you to your calling, nourish your relationships, or spark genuine fulfillment, then you may find yourself feeling hollow in the end. Take a moment to reflect on what success has meant to you up to now. Have you been checking off boxes that might look impressive on paper but don't necessarily align with the life you envision for yourself? Perhaps you've been aiming for a six-figure salary or a corner office without considering whether these external markers bring real joy to your daily life. Denzel Washington's perspective repeatedly highlights that success is not a one-time lightning strike of fame or wealth. Instead, it's a journey of incremental growth, an evolution where each day builds on the last. From that viewpoint, focusing exclusively on big paychecks and public applause can blind you to the quieter, more profound achievements that shape your legacy and character. Think about the times you offered a shoulder for someone to cry on, or provided guidance to a colleague who was struggling. Did those moments bring you a sense of significance and purpose? Chances are, they did, and that internal reward is far more sustainable than any fleeting burst of applause. If your own definition of success leaves you feeling boxed in, it's time to break free from the mold society has handed you. True, money can improve your standard of living, and accolades can be encouraging, but they're insufficient on their own. Imagine having substantial wealth yet feeling isolated because you neglected personal relationships. Or picture yourself standing in front of a crowded room receiving an award while internally battling emptiness because you never found a cause that resonated with your core values. Denzel Washington's ideas suggest that every accomplishment, every trophy, every deposit in the bank should ideally serve a broader sense of purpose. Are you using your talents to uplift someone else? Are you helping to create opportunities or spark inspiration within your community? Success, when defined in that manner, becomes not only more fulfilling but also more enduring. So, what does success look like for you personally, right now? Maybe it's finally reconciling with a family member after years of conflict, taking steps to free yourself from a heavy burden of debt, or nurturing a creative hobby you've been putting off because of a busy schedule. Maybe success means waking up each morning with a sense of peace and going to bed with gratitude in your heart. Never underestimate these quiet triumphs. They may not appear on the covers of magazines, but they hold genuine power to transform your life from the inside out. As an old saying goes, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Everyone's journey unfolds at its own pace, and celebrating your personal progress, no matter how slow or unglamorous it may seem, is an essential part of building real, lasting success. To make this real, take a moment to redefine success for yourself, right here, right now. In 3 simple bullet points, write down what success genuinely means to you. Maybe it revolves around serving others, improving your health, and cultivating deeper relationships. Perhaps it emphasizes lifelong learning, spiritual growth, and consistent acts of kindness. There's no wrong answer as long as it resonates with your values and leads you toward a life that feels meaningful and aligned with your bigger purpose. After you've penned those 3 bullet points, place them somewhere you'll see them often, on a mirror, a vision board, or even as a note on your phone. Let that new vision of success guide your decisions each day, reminding you that the most impactful achievements often aren't about public fanfare at all. Instead, they're about living a life that reflects who you truly are and the legacy you hope to leave behind. You've journeyed through stories of faith, adversity, waiting, wilderness, and breakthrough. You've absorbed an expert viewpoint from Denzel Washington, who, in the third-person perspective, champions discipline, belief, and unwavering perseverance. Now it's time to translate this inspiration into action. Inspiration without action is like a seed falling on barren ground, it withers before it can bear fruit. So here's your next step, reflect on everything that stood out to you in this video. It might be a single phrase or a full story. Leave a comment detailing how you plan to apply it in your own life. Share your experiences, your hopes, and your struggles. Ask a question if you need clarification. Then, challenge yourself to encourage at least one other commenter. Let's build each other up. This is how we create a community around motivation for success, a community that thrives on honesty, empathy, and genuine support. Finally, remain open to the possibility that the best is yet to come. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Stay persistent in your faith and your efforts. Press on, press harder, because the moment you feel like giving up might be the same moment that miracle begins to unfold. This is your turning point. Right here, at Motivation for Success, you've experienced a powerful reminder that no matter where you stand today, pits, prisons, crowds, or wilderness, your story doesn't end in defeat. There is strength in adversity, purpose in waiting, refinement in the wilderness, and unimaginable victory in pressing forward for your breakthrough. Denzel Washington's testimonial wisdom emphasizes discipline, consistency, and the resolve to keep going in the face of setbacks. His words remind us all, if you don't fail, you're not even trying. So press on, keep the faith, and dream bigger than you ever have before. Thank you for joining us today. If this video inspired you, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, and share it with someone who needs a little motivation right now. Also, jump down into the comments, leave a note, reflect on your insights, and let us know how you plan to take action. We want to hear your thoughts, your breakthroughs, and even your questions. Your journey matters, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Remember, whatever your mountain, whatever your desert, victory is closer than you think. Keep pushing. Keep believing. Keep growing. The best is yet to come. From all of us here at Motivation for Success, we're cheering you on. Keep your head high and your faith strong, you're made for this. And with that, we'll catch you next time.